To another episode of Rdm Podcast. I'm your host, Al. In this episode, it's very interesting. Like a large portion of the episodes that we have here, whether I'm on my own or I've got a special guest on, generally are built around the real estate between the ears. Now, look, we're never going to be ones here who sit around a campfire singing Kumbaya, holding pinkies, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you desire. But what I mean, I guess, to bring some context and a point to what I said just then is there are different ways that we can be connected internally in our life and in the world around us. And one of the most important ways is the vessel from which we're channeling and experiencing life, aka the human body. And having my third child now, there's chaos. There's chaos everywhere, like at the moment with me in my life. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. What it means, though, is I need to triple down on my focus, my intention, and where I prioritize my time and effort. Effort, aka energy and focus. So my time and my energy and focus is very, very important because coupled together, you never get it back. Yes, I'll wake up, I'll have more energy again. Not that I'm getting much sleep at the moment. Yes, I'll have a little bit more time, but I'll never get those two at the exact same period in time right here and now at 2 o'clock on the 1st of October, entering the last quarter of 2020 again. And here we are. Isn't it pretty crazy how fast time goes? We're into the last quarter, such a chaotic year, yet here we are. We're into the last quarter for the year. How's your game going so far in 2020? Are you going to win? Are you back against the wall? Do you feel like you're under the pump a lot? Because a large portion of this comes down to this episode here where we're going to talk about physical health, the human body, and what it means to you. Why do you eat? And why do you eat what you eat? Here's the thing, and there's going to be so many, this is the absolute truth. You want an absolute truth with nutrition? I'll give you this. The absolute truth in nutrition is there will always be a scientist, a nutritionist, a naturopath, someone with a form of bias and perceived data or studies or trials or clinical tests that will prove or push an agenda or a point. Does that mean paleo is the answer? Well, yes and no. Does it mean keto is the answer? Well, yes and no. Low carb, low fat, all meat, carnivore diets, vegans, vegetarians, not eating anything that casts a shadow. Good for you. But too often we don't actually become critical thinkers inside of our own life and ask the question, well, why is that my truth? Like, can I eat donuts every single day and still lose weight? Well, why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to eat donuts? Does it have to be that way? Are the donuts serving you? Just like eating paleo, just like being a vegetarian. And look, this isn't a beat up on any one of those philosophies. Not that there is a donut diet, but I'm sure plenty out there wish there was. But look, it comes down to establishing an understanding of not judging anything else outside of yourself and looking internally to go, what's the actual point and purpose of me nourishing and putting food in my mouth? And even from a philosophical point of view, or a moral point of view, all right, I'm a vegetarian because I don't like hurting animals. Okay, cool. So your trucks that are carrying all the fucking soy and beans all over Australia, they're not running over ants and killing ants on the road. You know what I mean? That's a very quick fire example, but it shows the level of hypocrisy when people elevate their own position by lowering others. That's bullshit. Don't do that. If we're going to take some philosophies out of this, when we're going to talk about this nutrition in today's episode, take this universal truth. That doesn't work. That doesn't fly with you either. Trying to elevate your position by lowering others. Because what you'll become is a hypocrite and you'll contradict yourself. Let's talk nutrition. Now, it's something that is, it's a fine line between getting it right and wrong, but it's also an art in understanding that, you know what, the fine line isn't as fine as you think when you start to develop and explore the reasons why you eat and build those patterns around your actual lifestyle. It's literally something that, I love formulas, maths, all that sort of stuff, crunching numbers and working that. Does that mean I track my macros every single day? Well, no. Does it mean I get my eye in so I know exactly what I'm putting in my mouth? Absolutely. Does it mean I'm a saint? Well, no. Does that mean I get the runs on the board to make sure I'm giving myself the right purpose behind my nutrition? Well, yes. I mean, I can have chicken and broccoli and rice every single day and it wouldn't bother me. Like, I have a great palate where I enjoy lots of different flavors, but when I get in robot mode and there's a task at hand, I can do that. Does it mean I have to? Well, no. For me, it's about energy. Life is energy. And there's a couple of key things I want to give you some value with. We've got, I mean, if you're watching the video or seeing this, we've got our Primal Power 1 ebook, audio book, and video series, which if you want access to that, hit me a private message. I'll more than happily send you that so you can get a better understanding. The whole point of this book here, Primal Power 1, for those listening, I'm just holding the book up at the moment. Primal Power 1, Nourish the Body. why eating more is the key. The whole point of this is helping you reestablish your connection and relationship with food, because who gave it to you? Your parents, the schooling system, the education system, the food pyramid. 6 serves of breads and cereals a day. I mean, 6 serves of carbohydrates a day could be amazing. Breads and cereals, probably not. I mean, my pop used to brag and gloat about the loaf of bread he'd eat every single day, 14 sandwiches. I'm like, no, Pop, 14 slices of bread. He said, no, 14 sandwiches a day. I'm like, Jesus, mate, what'd you put on that? Just a little bit of margarine and some Vegemite. That's a lot of bread, man. So when we're looking at this, we're establishing your connection and relationship with food to help you undo and break down the patterns that have created your belief systems around food, but also reinvent the behaviors and patterns that you can create for yourself. So when it's all said and done, the reason why you nourish your body is to help your body as a system perform. It's fuel. Now, when we look at fuel, yes, that's a broad statement. There's so many different factors come into play. Is it calories in versus calories out? Well, maybe, maybe not. I mean, what are the cooking methods? Are you using high levels of polyunsaturated fats? Like, people worry about sugar. PUFAs, or polyunsaturated fats, that'll fuck you up more than anything. We're talking about vegetable oils, copious amounts of seeds and nuts. Like, these are types of fats that suppress your thyroid and your hormonal health, which as a man and a father entering the second half, mate, you don't want to be having that. That's going to affect your metabolic rate. That's going to affect obviously your hormone production, your testosterone. These are important things. Yet you're worried about putting 1 teaspoon of sugar in your cup of coffee, and you think that's going to kill you. Now, let me be clear here. It's very hard in a general approach, which maybe that's why I've taken so long to do this podcast, although the information's always been there. Well, it is for our members anyway. It's understanding the point and purpose behind it. Does that mean that you've got the all clear now to chuck in some, 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar in your coffee? Well, it depends, mate. Like, what's your body like? The thing to understand and establish, even when we're talking about carbohydrates, is you are putting your body in a massively inflamed state and condition if you're having things that are putting stress and pressure on the body more often than not. Exercise is stress and pressure on the body, but it can be a good form when juggled the right way with balance in nourishing and rejuvenating yourself. Sleep and nutrition. Obviously, that's going to support your training. So when we're looking at nutrition, maybe you don't have sugar in your coffee because at the moment you're having donuts and cakes and pastries and cookies at morning tea time and at lunchtime, and you're having copious amounts of milk, and you're also having bread. So you got your gluten, you got your dairy, and it's not that you might be gluten or dairy intolerant, but you've got all these different stresses which can lead to leaky gut, which can lead to certain issues and hormonal issues, and ultimately your immune system getting not shut down, but getting shot to shit almost certainly. So then you'll get sick. And then it becomes this pattern where the body's constantly under stress. The adrenal fatigue is real because you're pumping adrenaline just to keep rolling throughout the day because you're not nourishing the body with enough food. All of a sudden, we've got this body, and that's what death is. Like, you're dying, disease, cancers, all of that is inflammation. Like, that is oxidative substrate, which is crushing you. Think of it as a pooling of liquid and intoxication inside of your cells that actually never gets cleaned out. Does it work differently to that? Well, probably at a scientific level, but at a scientific level, what I'm trying to do is bring context and understanding inside of the reasons and choices behind you shifting or adjusting your nutrition. So when we're looking at that, and we're looking at breaking down carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, we need to establish where your ground zero is. What's your body currently doing? What's it like? What's the stress you put it under? Because everything I just explained then is going to maneuver you to a position where ultimately you get some fit buff in his 50s. Fuck, mate, good for you. You've been on keto for 10 years. Awesome. It's worked for you. It can work for anyone. How come the whole world isn't fit and healthy then? It's something that you need to mentally connect to so you're more invested, to be consistent with the process. B, yes, build some level of, monotony about it. If that's something where you need to get a structure and routine, brekie's the one that kills you, or lunch, somewhere in between breakfast and dinner, or dinner. Okay, cool. We need to maybe dial that in and be a little bit strategic and methodical in our approach. But C, at a chemical level, rejuvenating and rebuilding you, man. I get fathers who come to me, they're lucky to be on 1,500 calories a day. And it's not that they're liars. Their metabolic rate is shot to shit. Like, you father, you're 130 kilos and you're having 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day. That's insane. And you're not losing any weight. What do you think's going on? Yes, you might binge on Saturday or Sunday and you might have 5,000 or 6,000 calories, but over the course of a week, man, you should be on, like, at that weight alone, 130, some low level or moderate form of exercise, easy 3,000 calories a day, and you should be losing weight. So what's the answer there then? Calories in versus calories out? I don't think so. It comes down to your metabolic health and the stress hormones that ultimately create a different shift in your physiology, and not just your physiology, the breakdowns of the chemicals inside of yourself, which create good functioning metabolic health, thyroid health, and hormonal health, which is all connected anyway. But breaking it down, there must be a reason and a purpose behind nourishing the body and doing what it is that you do. That means we love carbohydrates. They're amazing. Hard part is though, when you're looking to break patterns, a lot of the carbs you have are from shit sources, which is probably why more often than not, you resort to a diet or sacrificing or giving something away. It does involve carbohydrates. We just need to find some better ones for you. And that doesn't mean that you just eat 3 kilos of beans a day. Fats are amazing. They're awesome. You know, having coconut fat, saturated fats from animals, it's not a bad thing. It's all relative though. If you know, I'm not saying having bacon is going to give you cancer, but Jesus, mate, if you're having, 4 rashers of bacon and 5 eggs every single day, and then you're compounding that with shit foods through forms of fried foods, processed carbohydrates, and different types of food that aren't nourishing your body or putting additional stress on your digestive system, it's going to be a tough road ahead for you. Inside of RDM, we have bacon and eggs. We have sausages, meat, chicken, fish, pork, everything, turkey, you name it. Rice, I laugh about it, white potatoes, butter and salt with it, dairy, breads. We have it all. Like there's actually no real restrictions when we're looking at the nutritional regime and protocol inside of RDM. What we do gear it around though is we gear it towards your goals and your dreams, what you want to achieve, what you want to desire. That's coupled with your feelings and your performance. So, okay, I'd like to have this body composition because it's going to help me with my confidence levels, help me feel this way, but it's going to give me energy. It's going to give me more energy. Right now, after having my third born, I'm having more carbs than when I was actually training, and my body's in good shape. I'm feeling good. I'm giving myself a faster and higher end source of energy, carbohydrates break down into, so that I'm processing it and I'm having a high level of output because I'm handling 2 kids, my 2 daughters, which are crazy with energy at the moment. Like they do not stop. My wife had a cesarean, so her energy and her health is very, very temperamental at the moment. She can't pick up kids and throw them around and all that sort of stuff. And then we've got our youngborn Roman, who he's just a little champion, but at the same time he's crying and screaming, so he's affecting our sleep. All these different stresses, plus RDM, plus doing a few renovations in the house. I'm doing them on my own because I enjoy that. I'm handy with my hands. I like a bit of handiwork and woodwork and whatnot. And this is helping me. Now, make no mistake, I'm not going and having 300-400 grams of carbs in one sitting. A couple of cups of rice, that's pretty solid to fill you up, mate. You're looking at like 80 grams of carbs. It's not that much. Your body will store it as glycogen in your muscles and store some in your liver for processing. Great, awesome. But if I do that, I'm not going to have crashes. That doesn't mean that I'm also eating every single hour. I still spread out between 3 to 5 hours of feed, but I am having more feeds at the moment, and it's keeping me channeled at a nice equilibrium with energy and performance to handle what's in front of me. Does it mean I don't like fasting? No, I love fasting. I think fasting's amazing. Again, it depends on the stresses your body's currently under to then determine the outcome of, should I put my body under more stress by fasting? If I haven't dialed in the before and after of that fast and make sure I'm nourishing my body as a whole in a 24 to 48 to 90, 96 hour period the right way. And then others will be like, well, maybe I need the fasting as a nice little reset, as a bit of a detox and help some cellular repair and rejuvenation, get the old recycling bin out of my body internally to help my body reset again. This is where it really comes down to horses for courses. The hard part is people don't explain this. You try and ask someone and people try and pin other people down on what is the answer for nutrition and what's the default. It depends. Everyone's different. What works for other people, what works for you and me and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you know what? There's some truth to that. But there's also a vague nature around that goes, hey, are you actually starting by peeling the onion layer back just a little bit by little bit to go, well, why do you actually eat food that you do? And why do you want to improve that? What are the goals at hand? What do you want to achieve? If I get a father who comes to me, he's 120 kilos, he wants to get down to 100. Beautiful. All right, well, I know straight away you can handle 3,000 calories, so I'm giving you a fuckload of food. And guess what? More often than not, if you're more active later in the day or throughout the day, I'm going to start your day off with a high level of fats. That way you're not going to be hungry or craving shit bits of snacks and treats. You're going to have a good outlet of energy with your fats that's sustainable and long-term. You're going to have protein, which is important for every single meal with your cellular health and rejuvenating the muscles, the organs, the brain, everything. Like protein is key. And protein generally has a little bit, depending on the cut, most protein has a little bit of fat in it anyway. So you want to boost your metabolism, you want to boost your energy, you want to boost your production on good muscle and tissue health, man, pump your protein up. But here's the thing. Too often people might come to me and they actually don't know where to get these resources from. They don't know what to do or what to have. I'm pumping you up with good fats and protein to start the day off, and then I might taper it off with the fats. You've got a good start to the day. You're quite active with your work. Beautiful. Bring some carbs and protein, carbs and protein, carbs and protein. Awesome. You won't hit 3,000 calories. I guarantee it. And it's not because I'm making you eat 10 cups of broccoli. Like I said, you can have rice, you can have different forms of pasta, you can have any pasta. But if you're doing it, sequentially every single day in order, this is what I'm doing all the time, the pasta might not be ideal for you. Your guts might not handle it. I love beetroot. It's amazing, but I've got a severe intolerance to it, which means I might have it once a month. So be it. So yes, we are all different, but it's understanding the foundations and principles behind those macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. And when we do this the right way, what I see is a pattern. So we've got a 120 kilo dad who's always hungry and he snacks. Beautiful. And he's really busy in the morning. All right, cool. You give me that. That's your blueprint. When I know about your life, I can then construct a nutrition around you. Too often people try and make a square fit into a circle or a triangle fit into a square. It's like, how? Like, fuck, man, I'm a dad in the second half and I've got so many moving parts to my life. I don't have time to just turn my life upside down. You see that. You see the 28-day challenges and dad bod challenges and all that bullshit. They go and do it and they get that result. They take that photo, but then they fall to pieces because it wasn't congruent with their life or their family to start with. So they've sacrificed and put even more stress just to get some sort of tangible result, all the while not even peeling the onion layer back one at a time to ask the point, why? So if we've got a dad, and I hope you're getting some takeaways and revelations here, those who are listening to or watching this, we get a dad, 120, high-level stress job, pretty active with work. The mornings are right off. It's always a nightmare getting the kids ready for school and whatnot. He picks at food. Beautiful, man. We're going to pump your fats and protein sky high in the morning, or we're going to fast because you don't have time. Structure and convenience for your fasting. That means you're going to have a bigger dinner. That means your first meal of the day is going to be big. And that means you're going to have more snacks throughout the day as well as the day continues. All right. You're going to fast, 14, 16, 18 hours? Doesn't matter. It's all relative to the man, his lifestyle, and his work circumstances. If he doesn't want to fast, beautiful. Here's your brekkie. We're going to do a big fry up. We're going to do this, this, and this. Awesome. That's going to get you charging for the day. And then this is what we're going to do. And then when you're active, unreal. This is where we're going to bring in your carbohydrates. Beautiful. You've just trained. Now you've just trained at 4 p.m. It doesn't mean you've got a 10-minute window that your muscles are going to waste away. You're a 120 kilo man looking to get some metabolic health back. You can eat a meal. You don't have to have a shake. We've got our own protein shakes. They're fucking amazing. I take 2 to 3 serves of them a day. My wife's getting jealous because my skin's looking so good because I'm having 15 grams of collagen a day. I'll tell you one thing, fellas. If you want to try protein, but you're worried about spending the money, give some to the missus, mate. That'll convert them straight away. It's unbelievable. So we're looking at ways that we can bring nutrition into your lifestyle. If you train at 4, mate, dinner might be the next best choice. Like, why do you have to force something in? I train at 4, dinner's at 5:30 because I've got young kids. I've got to do this. Beautiful. Eat then, mate. Like, the reason why our nutritional protocols with RDM, there's some foundational truths, what I'm sharing with you here and now, and I'll continue to explore that a little bit more. But the reason why what we do is successful is because it's something that's mentally more invested by the father because it's dialed in for his life. Like, if I listen to you in your blueprint, we do that now, lifestyle roadmap, and I go through all your nutrition, everything. All right, beautiful. This is that. This is that. This is your life where it's at. Cool. Let's just plug those little holes and gaps and fill everything in for you. You're mentally more invested. You're going to read our blueprint and go, oh, yeah, of course I can do that. I can do that. I'm busy here. I'm not busy there. I like those foods. I don't like those foods, so I don't have to eat them. Awesome. Great. Like, if you don't like certain foods, don't eat them. Oysters could be amazing for you. If you don't like them, don't eat them. Yeah. Broccoli, I don't know, like it's okay, it's good. I don't mind it, but if you don't like it, don't eat it. So when we break it all down, it's something that you're going to be mentally more invested in. It slowly shifts the mold of who you are to open up and explore your nutritional options a little bit more. It starts with a foundation of high protein, absolutely, but not to the point where you're doing protein farts trying to get 300 grams a day. That's ridiculous. I didn't even do that. I'm 110 kilos, 6'4", and I train solid. I might hit between 200 and 250 grams of protein. Some people might say that's low. Cool, mate. When I was competing in CrossFit, I was running at 7% body fat at 110 kilos. You work that out. Do I need more protein? Probably not. So it's working out what's going to suit you. Blood type diets can come into it as well. Like, I'm A negative, which is reasonably rare. But with that being said, I'm supposedly someone who should just do yoga and eat a little bit of fish and be a vegetarian. I've been one of the fittest men in the world for my size in CrossFit and was an elite rugby league player eating lots of red meat. I don't know, like, it seems counterintuitive to reach the highest level of two different sports, and yet it was the complete opposite of what I was supposedly supposed to do on my blood type. That doesn't mean one's false or the other isn't. And it doesn't mean if I went back to just doing yoga and eating vegetables, I would have been an even better athlete. That that makes me laugh as well. It's looking and going, what can I do that I'm going to mentally be more invested in? Please bear with me on this. Like, stay with me. When you're mentally more invested in something, you are literally sending off printer runs to the printing system, which is your genetics, to send a new blueprint of your genes. It's all in my books. Like you'll see, this is epigenetics. So if you're someone who loves and lives and breathes keto and you're an 80-year-old that's shredded and you've done keto for 40 years, awesome. Was it keto that was the answer? Or was it literally your belief system over time on the frequencies that you've created inside of your own mind and investment and some level of action that has literally rewired your genetics? It's the latter. You shift and adjust your genetics. Don't come at me and say I'm big boned out to genetics. Have you ever seen a fat skeleton? Oh, come on, mate. That's bullshit. Yes, you'll have bigger frames and bigger builds. From that comes tissue and organs and size, all sort of stuff. I get it. I understand. My bones at more than double the capacity of a normal person because I've done squats since I was 13 with heavy weights and resistance training for over 20 years now. Still only weighs 6 kilos, my bones. So it's not about the bones that put the scales on the numbers and the weights and the scales, high, low, in between. It's understanding the value of having something you're mentally invested in, which combining that with the physiology of having protein, carbs, and fats, you should have all of it. Generally, we go higher fat around the times when we're least active, higher carbs when we're more active, cycling that on generally a 48 to 168 hour period because there's a carryover effect. You can't lose. Because what you're doing is you're working on your physiology to give yourself more energy. You're working on the chemical structures of your body when you're not subconsciously strong enough to build out the patterns of what you're invested in. But then when you continually build the patterns of what you're mentally invested in, it goes hand in hand. I love this food. I'm eating this food. It's working for me. It's working for my family, which means my blueprint genetics, awesome. Keep creating cells that respond to this. And this is the cause and effect. This is literally the perceptions of your cells, the perceptions of your cells, your organs, literally your body, of the environment it's exposed to. One of those environments is the food that you eat, the food that you're putting in your mouth. I hope this is making sense. I don't think it's going too fast, but we obviously explore that in our books a lot further. The master course is amazing. I mean, it's $40 for 5 books, for 5 audio books and 114 coaching videos. But and that's not a plug. You don't have to do that. What I'm saying is this is phenomenal value we expand on in our courses and structures we have for dads. Unreal. But the value here is understanding the value of you. What do I actually want to achieve? Why is that important to me? What's something that's going to work around my structure? What's the physiology and the breakdown of being a human being? Understanding that protein, carbs, and fats all serve a purpose and a role in our life. Even people that go low carb or no carb. Mate, if you're still having vegetables like paleo, you're still having sweet potato, broccoli, carrots, beans, they're all carbohydrates. You're probably not getting as much as you could. Maybe that's why you lean out, because carbohydrates are stored as excess fat in the body, possibly. I don't know. Are you putting your body under more stress though? By running super lean? Are you supposed to run lean all year round? Hard to say. My younger brother, he's shredded all the time, man, and he could eat the exact same food as me. Our physiology is a bit different, but it's our relationships through the prepubescent eras and the stages where I was going through puberty and eating certain types of food and he was different. That's constructed a level of a baseline of genetics from which consciously I'm feeding out different information than what he is. That means I put muscle on way easier and better than he does. It's not focusing on things that don't concern or involve you. It's staying in your lane, man. This is the gift. And I hope this episode has added some value to your life and hopefully ticked a few boxes or a few answers. If you want the nutrition one, you can have that. I'll give you that book for free. You want the book, the audio book, the video series, hit me up, private message or comment. If you're watching this on different platforms, comment below. Let me know. If you want it, it's yours. Take it. It'll help you establish a better relationship with yourself and food. But can you guys see, hopefully you can start to see why Rdm on the bigger level is so successful. It's personalized for the father. It's not about diving super deep and getting lost. It's just peeling the onion layers back one at a time and going, what's the point and purpose of doing that? What are we trying to achieve? A steak can be awesome, but I'll close off with this. Final rule. The steak can be great, but that age-old saying, you are what you eat, doesn't apply anymore, okay? You are what your body allows you to absorb. That doesn't even fly anymore either. Both of those come together under the one universal truth that you are what you eat eats. What does that mean now? It means what you're eating. You absorb that and you get the value nutrients out of what you're eating actually eats. So the plants, the vegetables, what they're having, they're plants, they're eating, they're consuming nutrients, obviously. It doesn't have to be an animal. Whatever that's eating, you're getting. So if I'm going and getting caged eggs from Woolworths and buying them just because they're cheap, that's going to be a pretty shit quality egg because of what the chicken's been eating, the inflammation in there, like I was saying before. When we're looking at polyunsaturated fats or grains or different things that inflame the guts, and then the chicken in an inflamed state's pumping out this egg in a cage where it's getting no exercise, not circulating the blood in its system and working its muscles, that's going to be a very poor quality egg. You are what you eat eats. Does that mean I go and get organic beans for $12 a kilo? Well, no. Do I need to have beans that much in my life? Well, no. But do I get organic and grass-fed meats? Absolutely. When you're looking at your protein sources, man, you need to prioritize. That's why these protein powder tubs behind me, they are the highest quality. It costs us a lot of money to make them, but it's worth it because I'm having it. It's part of me. I'm having them all the time. I don't get the farts and all this sort of shit and protein like the old supplements back in the day, and that's got digestive enzymes in it as well. It's unbelievable. So when we're looking at this, we're going, all right, you are what you eat. So if I go and have Paul's milk down at Woolworths, is that different to maybe getting the cold pressed raw milk from Harris Farms? Yes, it is. Is that different to then getting it straight from the farmers, straight from the cow's tit out on the farm? Well, yes, it is. That doesn't mean that you have to wait till you get a chicken in the backyard and as soon as it lays an egg, you crack it open and eat it. It's not about the time as opposed to the structure of the actual journey of the nutrient and how it's passing through life. The chicken goes out and it runs around, flaps its wings, and then it chews on some worms, witchetty grubs and whatnot, eats some grass, it's getting some sun, it's exercising, it's got a good environment with other chickens, so it's mentally happier because we've had chickens almost my entire life. They're very social creatures. Beautiful. It pops out this egg. The nutrients are in that egg. You then crack that egg open. How you're cooking it will determine the nutrient profile of that egg, and then you absorbing it. And then how your body is structured and the systems of your body is operating at that time, and the way that processes the egg then delivers the nutrients that you may or may not get. Because like I said before, if you're in a highly inflamed state, you may need to do some work on yourself first. Isn't it amazing when I just said that example then that you really have that breakthrough, that surreal moment of understanding that everything's energy, photosynthesis, the sun, growing plants, trees, it's all a transfer and transaction of energy, because the food that I ate at lunchtime, having some nice turkey mince and some rice, then as half serving of that shake there to top up my protein, has gone directly into the energy that I'm putting here in delivering this podcast. This is the way of life. So when you understand, it's not that, and that's not deep at all. Like that's the truth. When you understand and develop this relationship with yourself, your food, how it applies to you in your life, your activity levels, your current circumstances, less inflammation in your life, building out something that gives you more energy, something you're mentally more invested in, something that's delivering you the value that you need to move towards your goals, that, my good sir, that's how you fucking nail nutrition. No other way. There is no other way. You want the one answer? That's the one answer. Then what does that entail? Well, all the different resourcefulness that food provides. If I live up in Norway and we've got access to salmon and all different types of fish, well, I'm going to have a heavy diet revolving around that, because that's what we're access to. We're gluttonous with choices in Australia here with what we have, but generally seasonal is best. I've got a huge mulberry tree in the backyard. Talk about being half wog. I've got a fig tree as well. I know I'm nearly there. I've got cherry tomatoes. Eating those figs, eating that mulberry when it ripens is amazing. Like, that's going to be way better than getting mulberries over from America when they're ripening. But it's all about having that structure as well, and having that level of convenience and making sure it works for you. Does that mean you need to throw everything down and go organic 100% with everything? Mate, just start with one step at a time and see how you go. Like I said, I've got a mate who owns a fruit and veg shop. Aaron, he's awesome. I go to him and I get better quality. Like I can't even compare it to Coles and Woolies. And it's awesome. It's great. So I'm getting my fruit and veg looked after. I get good quality meats from the butcher. We've got one of our dads is a butcher, Mike, down at Hornsby. Awesome. Like, it's such a difference. So yes, I invest in myself, and yes, it costs me more money, but it's worth it, because that's a transfer and exchange of energy that's going into my life and what I can express for myself, for my children, for my family, and then for them. Like, my little girls, man, they are powerhouses. You should see them move. They're eating good quality food all the time. Like, yes, we have the little kiddie type snacks and we make them as natural as possible. and they're experiencing and enjoying their life and birthday cakes and all different things. But the reality is their foundation is built off building their health the right way, with that right foundation of giving them more energy and setting the structure in place so they're having a good quality system more often than not. I hope you've enjoyed this and taken a lot out of this episode. We'll be diving into a lot more practical use and guides to really help you. All of this is real estate between the ears stuff, but how can we apply some value? Like we're 66 episodes in now, and this is an amazing episode to help you apply some real practical change to your life. Like I said, if you want that book, just hit me up. I'll send it to you right away. But this is about making sure that it does start and end with a real estate between the ears, but focusing on the why behind what is your desire and what you actually do desire first, but the why behind it, and then how to navigate that so it works for you. Because you're more mentally invested, your physiology is going to be sound with more energy, and your chemical change up from those two alone is going to literally reprint your blueprint for your genetics, which is going to change the structure of who you are as you get older. That's the secret to life. Keep the body as young as possible and grow the mind as much as possible. Take care. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you soon for another episode of Real Dad Movement. Cheers.